Yeah. So this being the fifth day, I'm esteemed to an honor to talk to you again with you all to share a very relevant topic, which is very much essential for self-care. That is nothing but optimism and mindfulness. So before me moving on into the topic as such, I would like to give you a small activity. And Kartika, kindly enable the chat box open. So audience, you are all seeing a white sheet, right? So please uh, just document your observation in the chat box. I will give you a minute. You can think about and you can just start documenting whatever comes to your mind by seeing the slide.
The chat box is open for all the participants to document their observations or feelings.
Yes, one participant had responded saying that there is a um, dark cloud in the blue sky during a bright daylight. Okay. Anyone else would like to contribute to your observation? Okay, good. Okay, that's good. Another person has responded saying that there is a black dot on a white paper. That's good. Another participant, a large white canvas and a small dark spot. That's good. Few more observations. Then we will just move on. Whole beautiful sheet of paper with lot many things to be. That's great. Yes, Vatsala. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else would like to contribute to your observation? Okay. Okay. A canvas reading to be written on. That's good. A blank paper to be filled with experience. That is very much ready. Okay. Let me just start what I intended to share with you all. So this was just a small exercise given by a professor to his students. So he just wanted to test them, and he said there's a surprise test that is going to happen. And people said yes, fine, okay, and they were all really very much awaited eagerly because this professor used to give some kind of all these exciting assignments for these students. So they were really very much eagerly waiting for him. So that time, what happened? He just gave this kind of sheet to them, and he asked them to answer the question. So he said, like, there are questions in it. Whatever you feel, you can, whatever you observe, please do fill it up. So the response were like this. So I'm really very much happy and delighted. And those are all the people who had seen the blank white sheet are the people with so much of optimism, and the people who were focusing on the dark spot are the people who need to improve on optimism as such. I'm not telling them or like labeling them as pessimistic people. So now this session is going to focus you or like is going to upgrade your optimistic level of understanding towards self-care. Okay, moving forward. So this is going to be my overview as such. I'm going to introduce the topic with some definitions with regard to optimism and what is the neuroscience behind optimism as such, the difference between optimism and pessimism, and with certain case scenarios because I could observe from my previous session, the feedbacks were like they wanted some case scenarios. So I had also included some case scenarios and what are the types of optimism by different psychologists and what are the techniques to cultivate optimism within ourselves. And the next topic which I'm going to deal is going to be on mindfulness, which is also really very an important topic for us to understand. And I will also talk to you about some of the techniques which we ourselves can start practicing so that we could also increase our mindfulness towards self-care. So now, what is optimism? Winston Churchill once said, a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, whereas an optimist see the opportunity in every difficulty. So this is how people, this is a major difference between a person with optimism and a person with pessimism. What does Oxford Dictionary talks about optimism? It is nothing but the hopefulness and confidence about the future or the success of something. So it's nothing but the hopefulness we have and the confidence level about something which is going to happen in the future is what is all about optimism. The term optimism refers to an emotional and psychological perspective on life. It is a positive frame of mind, and it means that a person takes the view of expecting the best outcome from any given situation. That is what is really very important. Whatever may be the adverse condition, it's highly imperative for us to focus on the best outcome from any given situation. So now we are really going to much forward towards optimistic way of life. So, but why optimism? Why is it really very important, especially at this scenario? Um, yes, I guess like you all would have got your results based on your scale because like we had given you the scale and I think I got a lot of opportunity to talk to you and a necessity to inculcate the practice of optimism within you because like many of you are found to have lesser a level of optimism within yourself. So this session I hope definitely will pave a way towards optimism. So there are different studies which have focused the effect of optimism among people. Number one, studies had found out there's a stronger positive correlation with health, and people with optimism are found to have better positive health comparatively with people with a lesser level of optimism. And they are also found to have lesser cardiovascular diseases. We all know that cardiac diseases, cancer, stroke are the leading cause of death nowadays, right? And very important, particularly for this period of time, it improves the immunological functioning. We all know that we are all combating against this COVID-19, right? So this level of optimism, this emotion or like the psychological upgradation with more of optimistic feeling is going to improve our immunity even against this COVID-19. So let's just look forward for more inputs from this session. This is an interesting case scenario. There are two people, A and B. They are two individuals, maybe of the same age and background. Both of them are undergoing stressful separations from their respective long-term marital relationship. The emotional turmoil has completely shattered both these persons equally. However, B decides to focus on his career and tries to move on in his life, whereas A gets emotionally stuck and he's not able to see or foresee any good things that might happen even after this. So this is a scenario which is a failure that had happened or like a problem in their marital relationship. There's yet another case scenarios I would like to reiterate here. Number one is traffic. We all know, right? And nowadays we are all really very much bothered because of this traffic problem. Anywhere, everywhere we go, it is full of traffic, right? So this pink color car is a person with lesser amount of optimism. I'm not going to label anyone as to be pessimistic because like there is always a way of and scope for improvement. So all my session or further, I will be talking about people with lesser level of optimism, not pessimism as such. So the person with lesser level of optimism is all the time very much tensed about the traffic, is not able to see any positive out of it. Whereas other than the next, the neighbors with the cars, which is very much closer to it, are able to see the positivity. Maybe they would have got some kind of an alternative, just maybe during the traffic signal, if they are waiting for a longer period of time, reading a good book or listening to a music. So all these are all some of the alternatives which we could, some techniques we could do, we could practice in our life to develop our level of optimism. There's yet another picture, a very sad person walking, right? So this is the person who has lost his job, and he's really very much upset because he has lost his job. An optimistic person is maybe would be hurt, but at the same time will definitely take this as a challenge and will upgrade. So these three scenarios which I had told you, maybe a broken marital relationship, or stuck in everyday course, or like in your career if something had happened. So now this session is going to be really helpful a tool for you to undergo in any of your nearby future. So now, so what would be the major difference between optimism and pessimism? So here we all know, right? This is a two glasses of with water. So a person with lesser level of optimism, or like defined as pessimism, they will view this as half empty, whereas a person with optimistic level will be viewing a glass with half full. So this is how we are going to differentiate, make progress in our life. So what does the neurophysiology talks all about this um, optimism? Studies have suggested that optimism and pessimism are differentially associated with the two cerebral hemispheres. Attentiveness to the positive aspects of a given situation. Like we discussed in our earlier session, a healthy, high self-esteem and a belief that the future is going to be bright are all mediated by the left hemisphere of our brain, whereas the right hemisphere, in contrast, is generally involved in mediating a focus on the negative aspect, a low self-esteem, and a gloomy view about the future. So now, understanding about the neurophysiology, so it is highly important for us to develop our optimism, right? So Geoffrey James had rightly said, train your brain to be optimistic because optimism isn't always automatic. Sometimes you must have to create it. So now we will see how we best we could create optimistic thinking in our day-to-day life. So, what are some of the strategies we could cultivate optimism? This is a person by name Seligman. He had given various techniques to inculcate the optimistic thinking in ourselves. Number one, he's telling we have to be best possible self. That is what how we should be, and we have to notice the pessimistic thoughts. And he gives an acronym saying that ABC. We will see in detail that. And third step, we have to distract ourselves from our own pessimistic thoughts. And finally, we have to dispute all our pessimistic thoughts. And again, there is a small strategic technique like ABCDE technique. We will see that in detail. So, what is this being best possible self? Even in the earlier session, we all learned about writing journal, right? Even here, what he insists is you start writing, like what is your ideal future life, right? You could take every 15 minutes, maybe in a day, you can start writing how your future would like you want it to be. So just take time and start writing, and let your writing be more creative, and let it be really very specific too. And start focusing on the potential you displayed even during your past shortcomings. There might be some adverse condition. It is not that everyone is born with perfection, right? So there might be some adverse condition where you would have lost your way and you would have lost every positive attitude. But amidst that, there would be one or two incidents which would have definitely led you thus far. Unless and otherwise, you will not be here today, right? Yeah. So it is highly very important for us to start writing, focus on the potentials which you had identified during your past shortcomings. That will definitely help you to march forward. Next, when you are focusing on your potential past shortcomings, that will help in increasing your positive emotions. When you're having positive emotions, definitely you'll be able to identify the goals. And when you're able to identify your goals, definitely you will feel more in control for your life. So, and that will help you to hold on a decision or to make decision towards change. So, it is highly important to be understanding to yourself or to have an understanding about you and to write it down. Make sure that you write everything in a paper or in a diary, as I had told you in the previous session. Start writing and write your ideal future life, how you want it to be, and just understand everything, every other aspect in it, and let it be very creative and let it be really very specific. And but you have to be really very much keep the one thing in mind, that you have to focus on the potential which you had identified during the past shortcomings, which will enable you to focus on the develop your positive emotion, which will definitely help you to get more grasp on control, and that will lead to a problem, probably a very great decision making in your future life. The second step is you have to notice the pessimistic thoughts, that is the ABC model given by Seligman. Number one, even I guess like you would have understood this by the previous session, we have to identify a, it is nothing but the adversity, the problem. You have make your description factual, understand what exactly is your problem. So for instance, like the example in the right side I had given you, saying that I felt stressed for the fourth day in this week, so I'm really very much stressed. So this is the first day I had come here to the session, at least aiming that something great will happen in my life. Now, number two is the belief based on this problem. The voice, the inner critic voice, okay, which will tell you what you tell yourself about this problem. So this is your opinion. It can be false also sometimes. So in this, taking this example as such, this is becoming a habit. Am I going to feel like this all through my life? I've definitely ruined my day because this is continuously happening for this whole week. So this is really going to devastate my whole life. So what is the consequence, that is a C? How did the belief is making you to feel or act towards it? So it is a result saying that I felt even more stressed and sad. So because of some kind of stress which you are undergoing for a continuously, maybe fifth time or fourth time in a week itself, and because of that you had developed the belief that definitely nothing is going to set right in my life, and because of that you are also feeling that it is very much stressed and I'm very much sad. So what you should do, distract yourself from the pessimistic thought. He gives three very basic steps that will definitely be really helpful for you to overcome the pessimistic thoughts. Number one, startle yourself. If some kind of pessimistic thought is reappearing often, okay, in that time you have to startle yourself. That is like you have to shake yourself like that, saying that like maybe you can just ring a very loud bell, or just you can just what is it? Elongate a rubber band and just snap it on your finger, so it will just make you realize to the present situation. So when you just shift your attention and start focusing on something which is like maybe your something in your hand, maybe the pen, the phone, or like something which is in your hand, just to notice, start noticing the color of it, start describing it about it, so maybe the shape of it. So start thinking about it, just shift your attention towards like what is possible with you at that point of time. Next, very important, you have to schedule a time later for your pessimistic thoughts. It's wonderful, right? So you have to schedule a time later. That is maybe today, 4 o'clock in the evening, I will think about all pessimistic thoughts. Let me just keep that as reservation. So that is what is the idea that is given by Seligman, so which is quite interesting. And when you come to that maybe at 4 o'clock evening, definitely you will not have a kind of a mood to think about the pessimistic thoughts because you have already overcome that, right? So three important ways. The third step is like you have to startle yourself, you have to distract yourself and shift your attention towards something which you're having, maybe something, a pen, pencil, or something, whatever it is within your hand. And then you have to schedule a time, later period of time, which will definitely postpone the pessimistic thoughts within yourself. Then you have to dispute your pessimistic thoughts with this ABCDE model. So we have understood that adversity is nothing but the problem. For in this scenario, we had taken stress as an example, and we had also identified our belief because of the stress, and that it is ruining your life. And third is the consequence, how you are feeling about it, right? So that is also really very much important, understanding the consequence. And we had read the previous slide. We have also learned how to dispute our pessimistic thoughts by just distracting ourselves and shifting our attention towards something which is really very much handy, and also scheduling a time that will relate all these thoughts. You can just tell your inner voice saying that, okay, fine, I'm happy. I'm going to focus on something else. I'm really very much busy. So let me just focus myself on something which is really very important. Maybe 5 o'clock in the evening when I go off to sleep, that time I will just reserve this time, not any other time. When you do that, Seligman offers or promises saying that there is some kind of inner energization that is happening within yourself, it seems. So this energization is going to give you a positive feeling within you. So likewise, definitely you'll be able to overcome this pessimistic thoughts. So this is a beautiful model. Even I had also applied in many times in my life, which had given better results. So I strongly recommend for you also to practice this ABCDE model, which will have fantastic results in your life and everyday life as such. So how do you develop? All this time we were talking about how to develop optimism among the adults as such, right? So now we are going to focus on how we can develop optimism among the children. Optimism is both a personality trait and a product of our environment, said Carol Ward, a licensed clinical social worker. So it is highly very much important for us to cultivate optimism even from childhood. So how can we do that? So here are the five easy steps for us. Number one is to have optimistic self-talk. That what we have to do is like you have to gather your children, your child with you, and you have to talk about your self experience, like how did you all overcome your adverse situations. You can just start sharing with your children. So that would definitely help them. That would create a kind of a role model within themselves. That will definitely help them in further scenarios, even in their life, to focus on optimism. So the next step is being empathetic. So empathy is really very much important. I really know that definitely you all will be knowing what is empathy and the difference between empathy and sympathy as such. So in that scenario, you have to understand, you have to be really with the children as such. You have to say them that we are there with you. So we are there for you. So we are all the time helpful for you. So these empathetic statements, holding their hands, will help them to face any adverse situation as such. Next, it is highly important. Now the 10th and 12th standard exam has come out, right? So, and many parents and some of the children are also really very much upset, noting the marks what they had scored. You should make a difference. Focus always on the efforts, not on the results. That I usually say even to my students, it is highly imperative for us to focus on the efforts, not on the results. Though results are really very much important, but the weightage should be given on the effort, because when you put your 100% of your effort, definitely you're not going to fail. So help your children or help any other children in your community, in your family, to help them to focus on the efforts rather the results. Help them to recall the happier times. Now, it is highly very much important for us to recall whatever happy moments that had happened in our life in our childhood days. So when you're recalling yourself, when you're just resonating all those things, it is going to give you a happy feeling. When you're having a happy feeling, that creates a very good, great, happy emotion. That is in turn is going to have a major change in your life. So recalling happier times with your children is going to inculcate a lot of optimism within them. And finally, you have to help them to change the perspective of thinking. So changing the perspective of thinking is also going to help them to focus more on positivity and optimism rather the negativism as such. So these are all the five major, I could call them as a pillars to develop optimism among the children. Moving forward, there are three types of optimism offered or like defined by Sonja. Number one is big optimism, the broad feeling that things are really going well, and this is a good time to be alive is people with big optimism will be thinking. Whereas people with little optimism will think that optimism is about specific day-to-day circumstances. Maybe like they will just say, I will definitely pass this exam. The bus or the train is going to arrive on time now. See, definitely it is going to happen. Whereas people with very small optimism will have less positivity, but still comforting belief will be there that definitely they will go sometime in my life, definitely I will have some good positivity in my life. I will definitely will have some good happenings will happen. So I welcome for all those people who had scored really very low in your optimism to move forward from very small optimism to little optimism, and people with little optimism level to move forward towards big optimism, and people with big optimism are now welcome to stay tuned and stay maintain yourself with this level of optimism for a brighter future ahead. So now, what would be some of the benefits as such? When you have optimistic feelings, optimistic thinking, definitely you're found to have less negative emotions. And you will have, when you are having very less negative emotions, anger, depression, anxiousness, or all very much lesser among you, then definitely there is going to be positive emotions and better relationship among yourselves, which will definitely help you to move forward with more performance, more positivity, more performance. And when you are performing, definitely you are going to have more coping skills. The coping skill is going to be really very high among you. And when your coping skills are really very high, definitely you are going to have more happiness in life. More of happiness is going to be the session for you tomorrow. So I'm not going to dwell upon what is happiness and all in this scenario. So when you are very much happy, overall your health is going to be really well, and you will have definitely the great quality of life ahead. So it all starts with your optimism level of thinking. So let us have and let us inculcate optimism all through our life. It's really very much difficult. I know that it is very much difficult because now we are all in a very situation. There is no certainty. We are all we are very much just not knowing like what exactly is going to be the future. Students might be very much apprehensive whether we will have our semester exams, and people who are going for work will be really very much confused or like very much worried whether I will have this job, and people in the family, how am I going to run this the family with a very limited number of resources available. So all these things are there, but still how we can overcome is what I'm going to tell you. So optimism during pandemic. So I had given you some techniques, a model, uh, how we can just progress. So in that case, now how we can develop optimism during pandemic is what some more additional points, a value addition maybe I could call that I'm going to give. Number one is self-positive statements. You have to inculcate that self-positive statement. That is, I just maybe even in my previous session, I had given you a whole load of list, right? So maybe the I am statement. I am energetic. I'm happy. I'm courageous. I'm going to win. So I'm really happy and I'm energetic. I'm also strong. So all those I'm statements is going to help you. See, even when I gave the small exercise on the first slide on a blank sheet of paper, many of them were able to focus on the white sheet. Were also people who focused on the dark side. So dark side is just a dot in the middle of the white sheet. So there is so much of empty space. Be thankful to God because He has given a wonderful day. We all know that there are like more than 9 lakh of people being infected with this COVID-19 and more than 25,000 has lost their precious life. But still, you and me are alive. So be thankful, have all those positive statements. Be thankful for the gloomy day. Be thankful for the sun. Be thankful and be happy for your family. Be happy for at least even the little amount of money that is left with you. Be happy for the children. Be happy for the job and be happy that we are all with you. Focus always on the success. Okay, maybe there might be situation even in your past which would have created a kind of pessimism because being here during this pandemic, all the time, please shift your thoughts towards success stories. So that would help you. At the same time, connect with people who are very positive. It is highly imperative at this scenario because people with negativity is going to pull you down more and more, which will definitely have a negative impact on your overall well-being. So make sure that you connect with positive people so that you will reduce your negativity. You just start choosing maybe your well-wishers, your friends, your family members. All those people will be really very much helpful for you to get connected. When you're, I now remember kind of an incident which Gandhiji had also referred in his book. So he was like very much disturbed while he was in his prison, it seems, because of the thoughts that was going on in the person who was cooking the food for him. Because that person had to be hanged on that particular day and he was cooking with all those sad thoughts. So that thought, uh, he never knew like who the person is cooking, but still that was negatively influencing him, who is like all the time really very much in a very distant place, but it was affecting. So when negativity can affect you negatively, stay on with positive people, which will definitely will enhance your positivity, focusing more towards optimism even in situations like this pandemic. Finally, it is highly essential for you to practice because without practice, nothing is possible. It is not a book learning or just because you are attending this session, you will definitely inculcate phantom optimism. No, it is not. So you have to start practicing. You might fall, like a toddler. That's okay. But anyway, there are always opportunities. There are always lending hands. So focus on those things and start practicing from today onwards to be more optimism. Okay, so with me just giving you all the tips on optimism as such, like I would like to focus a little more on mindfulness, which is also highly imperative for us. So you could see from this slide a picture where which there are two different thoughts, right? One is mindful; it is fully occupied with something or the other, maybe the traffic, the household chores, and the job problem or like at your house, your friends, all those things. Your mind is like kind of interconnected with all those of problems and situations around you, whereas the next aspect talks about a very small, that is like what is happening to that person in the present is what is reflected in the mind. So you could see in the picture that person is holding a dog and there are two trees on the left side and the two trees on the right side, and there's the sun above. So, likewise, when you're practicing mindfulness, you will be focusing on the positive aspect of it. You will not be worried about your past or future as such. uh, theorists or the scientists have found out that people all the time being occupied with something or the other, worried or always influencing upon the thoughts which were like in the past or like in the future, worried about the future, or like they are just stuck because of some negativity that had happened in the past, or they are very much perplexed, not knowing like what would be my future. So that is not really going to help us. So now here in the next few minutes, we will understand like how mindfulness is going to help us towards self-care. That is much the crux of all this certificate course as such. So mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment and doing it intentionally without any judgment, that is with non-judgment. So it is nothing but a practice of paying attention to your present moment and doing it very intentionally, not unconsciously or semi-consciously. You are doing it very consciously. At the same time, mindful meditation practices refer to the deliberate act of replacing or regulating the attention through the observation of thoughts, emotions, and body states. So meditation, mindful meditation is possible when you can regulate, you can just regulate your activities and attention by observing your thoughts, emotions, and your body states as such. So Susan Westbrook, a practitioner, uh, for says defines mindfulness is nothing but it is about noticing what happens moment to moment, the easy and the difficult, the painful and the joyful. It's all about building a muscle to be present and awake in your life. So being mindful is nothing but being present to the present situation. So why do we have to learn about mindfulness? So, because mindfulness helps us to increase our ability to regulate our emotions, decreases the level of stress, anxiety, and depression. That is what studies had found out. And many studies also had found out mindfulness helps us to focus our attention to observe our thoughts and feelings without any judgment. So, mindful plays a vital role in each and every one of our life. So, what are some of the benefits? As I had told in the previous slide, it reduces the stress. When stress is reduced, that increases the focus. When focus is very much improved, definitely you're going to have more of creativity. When creativity is there, definitely there is more space for collaboration. When there is more space for collaboration, you will have a very improved emotion, and there is a regulative emotion as such. When you have a very regularized emotion, that would pave way for an increased emotional intelligence. You know that when there is emotional intelligence, definitely that is going to increase empathy and respect towards others. When you're having empathy and respect, studies have also found out that increases the resilience. When resilience is very much high, the bouncing back situation, definitely the aspect is going to improve our physical well-being as such. So these are all the main 8 benefits which we are going to get by doing mindfulness. So there are so many activities, many psychologists and even the physicians have identified through mindfulness. So even in meditation, mindfulness is also a technique which is inculcated. So I'm not going to go into the details as such, not being an expert in all those meditations, I would like to focus on 3 important activities which we all can practice in our day-to-day life. Okay, so there are also stress reduction, mindfulness exercises where which scientists or like the psychologists use during their cognitive therapy situations. All those details, I'm not going into the details of it. So now I'm going to focus on 3 important aspects. Number 1 is mindful breathing. Number 2, mindful walking. And finally, mindful eating. So now I After understanding and analyzing your score, I thought like this would definitely be a great help for all of us to understand ourselves better, so that like we are not into any of the negative well-being as such. So, what is mindful breathing? So, how we should prepare ourselves? So, the next 7 slides will be focusing on mindful breathing, the different steps. So, it is nothing but inhaling and exhaling of our own breathing. First of all, what you have to do is like you have to find a comfortable place where you can focus and will not be disturbed or interrupted, because the continuity is really very much important here. And you can decide for yourself how long you're going to dedicate. You can set a timer, you can meditate as long as you wish. So maybe you can start with 5 to 10 minutes. So we all know that 10 minutes of 24 hours is just 0.7 percentage of your whole day. So 10 minutes is not going to that effective, or like it is not going to affect you in any negative way. So now you can place yourself in a posture which is very much relaxed and alert, so that your backside, your spinal is like very much reasonably straight. So the step one in mindful breathing is like I'm not going to give you simultaneous instruction. This is what I had got from the study. I had just put here so that like you will understand it in a better way. And I will also give you the references so that you can go and understand it in a deeper way. Because like in an hour, it is not possible for you to practice and for me to teach you everything, each and everything. So I'm just moving little fast so that there will be more understanding within ourselves. Number one is like what the instructor says, that you have to take a deep breath and you have to start relax. Taking a deep breath, you can keep your eyes open or closed at the step one, and you have to be really very much aware of sounds that is around you, maybe the coming and going of people and whatever they are. Just be aware of all those things and keep taking and releasing the slow, deep breaths while being aware of it. Step two, you have to close your eyes and drop all the concerns. That is like you have to just, you might be a person with so much of burden in your life. Just drop everything. So close your eyes and drop all your concerns. Just maybe you can take that heavy bag a little bit later. So just drop all your concerns around you. Focus on your breathing. Bring step three, bring all of the awareness into your breathing. Focus on your breath. Bring your whole awareness to the sensation of the breathing. Sense the cool air that is coming in and the warm air going out. Feel the chest rising and falling, the belly expanding and contracting. At this point of time, don't try to control your breath. Let it be whatever it is, flowing in and out of its own. Step four, start counting the breath. Start counting softly, maybe from 1 to 10, 1 to 10, and then again restart. If at all, if you had missed, okay, if there is something, some aspect had disturbed you or interrupted you, that time you can just restart from number one. Slowly start, right, like from 1 to like that till you reach 10 and go back again. So number five, or step five, is all about getting deeply immersed in the breathing process. Get more and more absorbed in your breathing. Start to notice the volume, the speed, warmth, and the sound of the breath traveling in and out of your nostrils. When your mind gets settled, during the first few minutes, you will find it easier to focus on more and more. Okay, so open your whole consciousness to the simple process of breathing is your step five. Step six is very important. Now bring all your attention towards your breathing. This is the most important step in mindful meditation. So you have to be aware. Let thoughts come and go. But if there are some interrupting thoughts, maybe let it come. Let it also disturb you. But at the same time, try to bring back your attention towards your breathing. Okay. So Russ Harris says that first, mindfulness is a process of awareness, not thinking. Be aware of what is happening around you. Be aware of the thought that is around you. Whenever you find yourself being caught by some other thoughts, bring back to this breathing as such. Step 7, it's like let the mind wandering thoughts fly away like clouds, and let yourself be settle down with your breathing focused. And then when you are focusing yourself on your breathing, there you will find a kind of a peace. You will be aware of the peace that is inside you, and that time you can also when you reach that time, you can open your eyes, and you can just stretch yourself, and you can start moving on. So this is the simple 7-step mindful breathing which we all can practice in our day-to-day life. So to summarize, number one, step one, you have to take a deep breath and you have to start to relax. Number two, step two is you have to close the eyes and drop all the concerns, whatever the burdens you're having. Step three will be bringing whole awareness into the breathing. Step four, start counting the breathings. And number five, you have to get yourself immersed in the breathing process. Step six, bring attention to the thoughts moving through the mind. Number seven, let the mind wandering thoughts fly away so that you will keep settling yourself into the breath with more focus. So this there are also and there are apps available. You can browse and you can find out certain mindful apps that would give you some instructions. Accordingly, you can also follow it. So what are some of the benefits because of this mindful breathing? Number one, studies have found out that it reduces anxiety. It seems it helps with burnout. Nowadays, with so much of cases around us, even that would have might make us feel very much burnout, right? So that time, this mindful breathing helps us to focus on towards our career, so that it will help us to resilient ourselves out of our burnout situation. And a study in US had also found that mindful breathing exercise provides pain relief with him. So they are also in the process of research to find out how it is really very much impactful in patients with a severe painful situations as such. If they are having so much of pain, and how to reduce these pain with the help of this mindful breathing, there are researches happening. And especially this mindful breathing exercise helps us to decrease the level of negative thinking amongst us. So it is highly very much important, right? So mindful breathing exercise as such, it reduces the anxiety, it helps with burnout to progress in our career, and also it provides us a very good pain relief, and it decreases the negative things so that it will pave way for positivity in our lives. Next is mindful walking. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So mindful walking. Here we could see a picture, a man walking sadly, but when he is becoming aware of himself, his inner feeling brings a gift towards himself itself. So when we practice mindful walking, we will be able to understand our present situation, which will definitely help us to move forward. So what is very much essential? So these are all the following steps which we have to be following while we are doing mindful walking. Number one, we have to find the place that allows us to walk back and forth, maybe or to 10 to 15 steps. Very much relatively. Again, you should not be disturbed or interrupted or observed, because when we are walking really very slowly, people will look very much strange at us, right? So because we very um, will not know that would distract the the place which people you will not in condition as such. So then your step one is after finding a location, you have to start your steps. Walk 15 steps along the place, maybe lane or wherever you are. So you're chosen, and then pass and breath for all as long as I walk 10 to 15 steps, and then pass and then take in and take out your breath, and then look backwards and again breathe in and out. And then when you're ready, you can just do it again and again. You can repeat the process as such. So the components of each step is really very much important, and this step it is highly very much important because you have to focus on two basic components. One, the lifting of one, if you're just taking your right leg out, so you have to be very much mindful of your right leg, how it is moving. So when you're taking it out, how it is like the feeling, the moving out of the foot a bit forward. So when you're taking it up or moving forward, you have to just feel or just make a kind of realize yourself like how it feels towards you, for you, and placing the foot on the floor. When you're placing the foot on the floor, the entire body mass will be leaning towards the front, right? So you have to focus that these are all the four important steps. And then the cycle also continues. It is like the next step, the back foot. So you're going to take that out of the ground. So you have to observe that also, how it is swings forward and lowers. Observe the back foot as it marches, or like makes a contact with the ground as such. And also feel the weight, how it is shifted to that foot when it is bending forward. So it is highly very much essential for us to move or like to focus our senses, all these body parts, which will definitely helpful for us in mindful walking. You can walk at any speed. Okay. So even in mindfulness-based stress reduction program, walking meditation is slow and it involves taking small steps. So people also say speed it doesn't matter because even for instance, the researchers had found, the scientists are also telling you can do mindful walking even while you're running, it seems, when you are having the grip of it as such. So it is highly very much easy. So to start with, be very slow. Uh, so make sure that it is very much natural, so that it is not very much exaggerated, so that you will feel a lot of things around you. So make sure it is very slow and it is also doing a kind of a very natural, so that like it should not be really very much obvious as such. So while you're walking, you can clasp your hands behind your back or in front of you. You can just let them hang at your side, whatever the position matter. But you have to feel very comfortable and natural, focusing on your four senses. That is very important in mindful walking. As you walk, you have to focus on other sensations. That is the breath that is in and out of the body, the movement of your feet and your legs, the contact with the ground and the floor, your head, your neck, and your shoulders and the body parts. So you have to focus, shift your focus on all these aspects, the sounds near it. So when you concentrate all those things, that's what scientists have found it. When you're all the time focusing on all these things, that will you elevate yourself from the past negative aspects of it, because all the researchers had found out people are really very much worried of past, which is not going to have which is nowhere in control of them, or they are all the time very much worried about the future, even that is not in control. So this mindful walking is going to help us to focus on the present. So when we are focusing on the present every day, every moment, that will help us to definitely fight against any negativity that comes our way through. So sometimes what to do when your mind wanders, that would be some of your questions. That's okay. That's what researchers have told. It's okay. It's perfectly fine, because it is very much natural, because this is the first time you are practicing. When you notice your mind wandering, simply try again to focus one of those sensations, either your foot or the right leg or the left leg, or the how the foot is keeping a space on the ground, how it is taking it off, and how your body is reacting to it, the head, the neck, and the shoulders. So when you're keeping on focusing on those things, that will definitely will help you doing better mindful walking. So for many people, slow formal meditation is an acquired stage. That's what I have told you. Even when you do it, like when you do that in your everyday life, You can try every day, so that there is a kind of a change which I had spoken to you even in the previous slide. So when you do mindful walking, focusing on the present situation, that will help you in the future too. So how do you think this mindful walking is going to help? So again, these are all the findings from various studies had found out that mindful for walking helps or like boost the blood flow. Walking meditation is often found to be useful for the people who sit for longer period of time. Maybe the people who are in IT sector, or like maybe any other job who or all the time like have to be support who are supposed to sit for a longer period of time. Mindful walking will help them to have a stress reduction as such. And when we are doing this mindful walking, it also helps in improving the digestion. It seems it's a good news for us also, right? And it reduces the anxiety among us. So that is really very much very happy news for us also. And it improves the sleep quality. So you might be sleeping, but if you are having a very disturbed sleep, it is going to be very much disturbed the entire day. So for that, when you do mindful walking, so that improves the sleep quality also, not only the amount of hours you sleep, but the quality. You will have a very restful sleep and a peaceful sleep when you sleep as such. And it makes the exercises enjoyable. It is not, you're not going to strain yourself unlike any other physical exercises. You're going to enjoy it. uh, and you'll be all the time focusing on yourself. It is your body parts. It's all your foot. It's all your head. It's your shoulder. It's the place where you live in. So it is because like getting to know more and more about us is very much helpful, right? And it also improves the blood sugar levels and the circulation of the blood. So that is also another finding which people had found benefited because of this mindful walking. And also it is found that it elevates the depression. So when person is all the time very much sad, so that is mindful walking is going to helpful in elevating the depression from ourselves, and it also improves the well-being. So finally, when there is a good blood flow in ourselves and there is an improved digestion and reduced anxiety and making ourselves really having a very good sleep and improving our blood sugar levels and decrease in depression, obviously it is going to lead to a better well-being. So mindful walking has proven to be that good, helpful for every one of us. Next, mindful eating. It's highly very much important. That too during this pandemic, most of us, because like studies have also found out people with more of stress or are prone to eat more. So we see two pictures here. One person eating at the speed of light very fast, and the quantity is also very much more comparative to the person who is eating slow. It is not only slow, it is slow, it is very slow. So the person who is eating is also very slow, is also the quantity is very much less comparatively to the person who is eating fast. So now we will see how mindful eating is going to help us and what's all the procedure involved in mindful eating. Number four, number one, mindful eating. First thing which we all have to do is you have to sit down by unplugging all our gadgets. You have to remove the your connectivity. Maybe if you are sitting and eating in front of TV, please switch off the TV. If you're all the time watching cell phones and eating, do not do that. Just switch off your phone. If you're all the time sitting in front of your computer and you're eating, please don't do that. So focus, shift all your focus on your meal that is in front of you. So when you start yourself focusing on the meal which is in front of you, that is going to benefit you in various aspects. Number one, when you sit down while you're eating without any distractions, it will definitely encourage you to pay attention to your food and how you consume it. um, 1 minute. So you might find that you have fallen into a bad habit, sometimes because of our maybe because of us being very busy all these days. We might be not giving that much importance to what we are eating and how we are eating. So this is high time for us to be really very much conscious of like what we are eating and how we are eating. It is really going to impact our health. So mindful eating encourages us to take a true break. It will help us to feel very relaxed and focused, and definitely it will help us to carry out the activities more energetic the rest of the day. So first step towards mindful eating is you have to sit down and you have to unplug with yourself with any of the connections which you're having with, so that you will focus your more on the meal that is in front of you. Number two, eat slowly. How to do it? Maybe if you're a person using fork, or if you're a person who's using your hand to eat, you have to pause in between the bites for beginners as such. So till you finish the first morsel of food, you have to wait. Okay, so start engage yourself in some conversation. Maybe if you're eating with your friends or family, don't aim to get yourself fully filled with food. Make sure that you be satisfied with your food. Listen to your brain, because there is a connectivity between your brain and your digestive system. So all those things will have dialogues in between. So while you're eating, be slow, little bit slow, so that like you're very much concentrating what you're eating as such. So step two is like you have to eat slowly. For beginners, the tip is you have to have your fork or your hands down in between the bites, so that you're not just taking it often closer to your mouth. Why is it so? Because if you do so, you will eat a lot less. In this way, you can prevent overeating, which will definitely cause unnecessary weight gain and obesity, and will cause digestive stress. So, eating slowly is very much important in mindful eating. Number three, chew well. How to do it? So the researchers have the people who practice mindful eating are also insisting that we have to chew each bite 30 to 50 times, not only one or two times. Just imagine like how much are we chewing our every day, every time meal or every morsel which we are taking. It's not even come to 10 bites, right? So you have to chew 30 to 50 times. What the experts suggest is saliva is full of active enzymes, it seems. So all those enzymes help us to break the food. The longer the food is exposed to saliva through chewing, the easier it moves through the intestines, which will benefit will the digestive process and allows for better absorption of all the vitamins and the nutrition that is there in the food. So this will definitely help in greater digestion, that is very much essential for overall health. Clear? So this is the third step. And fourth, sip, don't gulp. So how you have to do it? You have to limit your consumptions of fluids 15 minutes before you eat, or at least 15 to 30 minutes after a meal, before 15 minutes of your food and after 15 to 30 minutes. So if you prefer to drink even between the meal, take a small sip. Experts suggest that a mint tea or a lemon water are very much useful in assisting digestion. So what are some of the benefits because of your sipping but not gulping? By not flooding your system with excessive liquid, because the system with excessive liquid will definitely may create some kind of bad results. That is, it will definitely cause
Sorry for the technical glitch. There is a small network connectivity. Madam is reconnecting now.
Hello, are you able to hear me now? Hello,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
you
We are
hear me?
able to hear you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for the interruption. There was something problem. So let me just, I'm just trying to reconnect myself. So 1 minute. So meanwhile, if you have any queries, please post your questions. I'll be able to answer before I'm just also trying to.
We have a couple of questions in the chat box, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Can you
Yeah.
hear us?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. The questions are
Uh,
so the first question is from Miss Vatsala. She
yeah.
asks you to explain that people with negativity within themselves but gives and points positivity in situations for others. So how can they
Hmm.
improve from using positivity for themselves as well?
Okay, people is having negativity, but they are giving positive situations to others. Is that so? What
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
question mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. It is quite natural for us because like we might be having negative situations. Is If Vatsala is asking for herself, I will if you're a person having negativity within yourself, but still if you're feeling if you would like to help others, then you can start having positivity with yourself, so that so that would also inculcate things in you. So 1 minute, one minute.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Meanwhile, is it possible for you to play that video, Kritika?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, I can play that
Yeah,
video.
please. Yeah, do that.
I wasn't ready. I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have my little chicken drumstick here. People freak out when they see me for the first time. it's so cool. I was at a water slide all by myself. Everyone obviously at the bottom of the slide is looking up and waiting for other people to come down. And here I come, and they're freaking out. They're like, you know, like this. And I was so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened? You know? There were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms lengths, I wish I had arms lengths, I wish I had arms lengths, I wish it won't help. But what I've seen in life are just a couple key principles. And the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. Oh boy. It's freezing, I can't feel my hands. I love life. You know, so many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You know, you go through your storms in life and you don't know how long this storm is going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours. Being patient is beautiful. I tell you, it's the hardest thing. But I realize I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand. But when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. I don't need hands to hold her heart. You know, it is scary to know how many girls have eating disorders. It is scary to know how many people are just angry at life because of their situation at home and angry at others. It's scary to know how many people actually feel like they're worth nothing. Every single girl right here, right now, I want you to know that you are beautiful. You are gorgeous just the way you are. And you boys, you're the man. On this DVD, I share my experiences in life of how I've overcome challenges and seen a new, fresh perspective in life. To be thankful, to dream big, and to never give up. I speak to children, youth, and adults about key issues and principles that I've applied in my life that has given me the strength to conquer all that comes before me.
Thank you so much, Kartika. And thank you, participants, for your patient waiting. I take this, there was some problem with my phone. So I had to just got switched off. But I think that is also a positivity. I think definitely I will be able to continue. So now I'm able to. Okay. So I guess like this video would have inspired you in many ways. Before we will just finish it quickly with what we are left out with. So we have understood that we have to sip and not gulp as such. And you have to embrace your senses while you are eating. So how you can do that is like, even you have to notice the color, the shape, whatever it is in front of you as such. So you have to close your eyes and smell the aroma of the food. Keep your eyes closed, and you please listen to what are the noises you hear. So taste buds also enjoy that. It is not there when it is in the mouth. So let each of the taste bud reflect on like how it is done, how it is let it be the experience of all the taste buds. So how it is going to benefit either every one of us as such. If you take the time to acknowledge and relish the colors, the flavors, and the textures, you will definitely be surprised at how certain sensory experiences begin to stand out. When you do this, definitely you will have the full experience of eating as such. So moving on, you have to eat only when you're hungry, not every time. Just because there is food in front of you, please do not do that. If you're really very much hungry, start eating. Otherwise, please do not. How you will benefit when you're eating only when you're hungry? So gives us as a reminder that your body needs energy, and you will develop good health. Avoiding emotional eating and mindless snacking will keep us away from being feeling really very much guilty as we move on into the meal time. And next, we have to adopt an attitude of having a gratitude as such. Make sure that you appreciate the nourishing, the enjoyable aspects of your meal that you're about to indulge in. It is say, maybe you can also practice saying a kind of a blessing, or you can also benefit yourself, appreciate who and all was involved in this. Maybe you can just think about the people who and all were involved in giving you this food for you. Okay, so you can think about maybe this food is in front of your plate, but now there are so many people who had were there in front of before this food had come to you to your place. So make sure that you understand all those things, take chance to thank each and every one of them, appreciate them. That is really very much important. When you're doing this, this simple acknowledgement will help to promote mindful eating habits and the feeling of satisfaction all around. So what are some of the benefits of mindful eating? When you're having a mindful eating, so it in eating, and so this is going to definitely will have food will get controlled, and instead of food cravings are there ahead, benefits which you will get through. Finally, the relationship you have with yourself is complicated because you cannot walk or away from yourself, right? So it is very much important for you all to take good care of you. So with this, I would like to finish my presentation. I'm here ready for some of your questions. If time permits, we will answer. Otherwise, we will move on. So these are all the yes.
Yes, ma'am. So we have few questions here in the chat box.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, please.
so the question here from Mr. Chepia Glowag is that what is the difference between meditation and mindfulness?
Actually, what scientists say is like in meditation, mindfulness is the technique, it seems. So during meditation is a very lengthy process where which there are different activities. Mindfulness is a part of meditation as such. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. He also asked, do we need to go training to practice mindfulness?
See, there are, as I had told you in my slides, there are different organizations who are offering, maybe there are 8 weeks package, and there are like so many short-term course and all. It is good to go for training. And as I had told you, there are also several apps available. And if you can definitely start on your own, it is good, because all these things require much of practice more than anything, right? So places available, and apps are also available. You can start doing that. And if not, if you really do not want, if you just want to start off, you can start off with those techniques which I had shared with you. So that would be really very much helpful. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The next question is from Miss Radhika. She asks, how meditation will help for intellectually disabled kids?
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yes, studies had found out that mindfulness meditation had helped a lot of people. Yes, and particularly children with autism. It all depends upon the level of understanding or intellectual disability the child is facing. Based on the level of the intellectual development, we can give. It is not that everyone will be given mindfulness techniques, and based on their intellectual development, we can definitely we can give. And there are also studies which have proven definitely this mindfulness meditation is possible. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Here's the last question for the session. Can you
Yeah.
mention some books of reference for optimism and mindfulness?
For optimism, the books by Seligman will be really very much good, because he has given a very great techniques. And for mindfulness, you can refer books by John Zen. So that person, he has also given many techniques on how mindfulness meditation can be used, especially during stress times. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the amazing session, ma'am. I request you to give the closing remarks for the session.
Yeah. Especially for me, it was a very great learning opportunity as such, because I really, during this adverse situation, it is really very much difficult for each one of us to focus on ourselves. I guess this self-care workshop or the certificate course had paved a way forward for all of us to practice to take care of ourselves as such. Because even in my previous session, I had told that taking care of ourselves is very much important, because self-care is our right. And I would like to join with Ratan Tata, okay, the famous industrialist in India, when all the people around us were talking, and the economists were telling us that definitely we are going to face a very much economically, it is going to affect us very much. That time he was the one who gave a very great message to all of us. It actually energized me. So I would like to wish the same for all the youngsters and all the participants. Now I quote, I hope that the ability to find another way to build a product, run a company, run operations a better way will emerge as an outcome of the current crisis. I won't downplay the challenges, the difficulties embedded in these current systems, but my confidence remains high in the inventive nature and the creativity of the young minds today, who will find ways to enable new or modified opportunities that would be the benchmarks for tomorrow. Unquote. Ratan Tata had told this. So I would like to tell these valuable words and my wishes to all the participants and the future pillars of the countries as well. Take good care of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I request Ms. Udaya to propose the vote of thanks.